Summer has always been my favorite season for as long as I can remember. Hot sunny days, watering holes nearby, all my favorite foods, and life just moving slower. Even with the recent heat waves, this Dutch summer has not disappointed me, despite of the drought that we're having here in the Netherlands. I can actually imagine Europe experiencing some sort of mini ice age in my lifetime. So I try to appreciate the heat while I have it, to find joy in living without aircon. From July 22nd to August 22nd, the sun moves through Leo, trading Cancer's emotional waters for fixed fire's bold, brash heat. Being creative and being playful are your foolproof ways to boost your energy and your confidence over these next full few weeks. So ask yourself, which of your gifts have you been downplaying? Where have you actually been a leader in your life? Where have you built something, a legacy, predominantly for yourself, just to make your point in history? Leo season wants you out there, putting the best parts of you on full display. To make the most of this moment, you have to confront the fears and insecurities around being witnessed and appreciated. Notice when your ego flares or your competitive streak creeps in. If you're hogging the mic or telling yourself there isn't room for you at center stage, challenge that scarcity mindset. The fastest way to shake it off is to enthusiastically hype up everyone around you. Being generous with your applause creates more reasons for everyone, including you, to celebrate. We've also got Jupiter Sun Kazemi this week. That's an additional energy yielding you rewards for the year coming ahead. So get clear on exactly what you want to build a legacy with. This Aquarius full moon forms on Wednesday, July 29th, opening the last eclipse portal of the year, with a total solar eclipse in Leo arriving in just 2 weeks. The Sun and Jupiter meet in exact Cazimi, while the Moon rises opposite them, alongside a volcanic Pluto. All of this sits inside the wide net of activating outer planetary sextiles and trines that we're calling Barbel's basket. There are enormous blessings pouring through all of us from the outer planets right now, and Pluto's opposition from Jupiter doesn't means that we don't get to receive any of them without first visiting the shadowy underworld, the gifts that arrive when we surrender to the journey and embrace it. This full moon shares a sign with the North Node, which is sitting close to Pluto, and stands opposite the Sun and Jupiter, asking us to face the fears that have kept us small. Now is the time to invest your personal agency and believe in the power of collective action as we brace for August's eclipse. We are really in a time where we are considering power to the people. So consider this your call to action. Recommit to the communal causes and movements that you actually care about. Invest in your local community because this lunation sits right next to Pluto, and it's also amplifying, intensifying, and exposing corruption lurking in the shadows of our social circles. At the same time, it supercharges the coalitions we've built over these last 6 months and lights up new ways to advocate for one another. In the days leading up to it and after, you might feel extra eclectic, extra drained, exhausted, or some sort of strange mixture of both. Major changes are in the air, so embrace these plot twists that are coming. At 6 degrees, we are in the first decan of Aquarius, the decan of pioneers, outsiders, and those willing to leave familiar shores in search of something greater. The moon, which naturally seeks security and emotional closeness, feels a little bit restless in Aquarius, forever questioning whether home is a place, a people, or simply a state of mind. Ancient skywalkers linked this deacon to visionaries and exiles alike, the landscape of those who refuse inherited expectations, even if it means walking alone independently for a while. Under this full moon, emotional liberation comes through releasing old identities rather than clinging to them. Sometimes you have to leave the nest before you discover where you truly belong. This needy moon isn't comfortable in this first decan, so focused on cutting the umbilical cord towards freedom. It rebels here, feels at odds wherever it lands. It searches endlessly for the promised land, but then rarely finds it. And yet, by the end of the month, whatever alienation you felt starts to mature into real self-sufficiency and autonomy. an ability to look after yourself that gets passed on, in turn, to the waifs and the stray this full moon tends to attract. Don't be surprised if you find yourself offering temporary shelter, literal or emotional, to someone in mid transition. A lot of people are going through some tough times right now. A cosmic home is found among fellow outsiders for those of us who run more Aquarian, more Uranian by nature. The solar eclipse in Leo follows in 2 weeks on August 12th, and it's the first eclipse since the lunar nodes have entered Aquarius and Leo on Monday, just last Monday on July 26th. This transit looks different from the last time the nodes sat in these signs back in 2007, 2009. Think back to those dates. Where were you then? What were you working on? But the themes are definitely rhyming. We currently have Pluto in Aquarius and Jupiter in Leo for the first year of this cycle, which makes this round considerably more powerful, transforming things collectively and individually. But in Leo, the sign of self-expression and leadership, expect a literal or symbolic dethroning of public figures who act like untouchable royalty. Yeah, y'all, this is great news. Anyone we idealize, ourselves included, will get nudged off the pedestal. It's like a sharp pin to a balloon. This eclipse plans to deflate our pridefulness and arrogance and reveals where our craving for praise and recognition gets in our own way. This series of Aquarius Leo eclipses is just a beginning. So there's time ahead to ditch the self-centered habits and strengthen our collective support networks instead. For now, resist overpacking your schedule and just let the drama pass you by. There's going to be a lot of shit unfold in the coming 6 weeks. What these nodes are asking of us. So here's a quick refresher because this matters for the next 2 years. Well, it matters all the time, but the North Node is our destiny, the place that we're headed. The South Node is what we're releasing to get there. With the North Node now in Aquarius, we're being asked to embrace independence, autonomy, individuality, and our own unrepeatable uniqueness. That's what Aquarius is giving to us. With the South Node in Leo, we're being asked to rethink entertainment, what we do for fun, and the hobbies that we've outgrown. So really letting go of like that extreme luxury, the big Leo energy that's just unnecessary. If you're wondering when the astro weather is going to calm down, the honest answer is, well, not soon. This full moon operates and opens our eclipse season. So next up is the Leo solar eclipse, followed by a Pisces lunar eclipse, the last one in the Virgo Pisces series. So a 6-week stretch ahead of us of accelerated evolution, endings, beginnings, arriving fast. Whatever's been brewing behind the scenes is finally catalyzed into action. So lean into your self-care practices and whatever helps you process emotion. Stay grounded in your body's sensations and stay connected to Earth and keep your eyes on the bigger picture. The future isn't fixed. It depends on the creative, heart-centered, loving actions that we take now. What risk are you willing to take to co-create the world that you actually want to live in? We're undergoing deep work right now to purge, liberate, transcend so we can elevate to the next version of ourselves. This is the ascension. It's important not to interpret whatever falls apart as a problem. This is a massive, ongoing slingshot into the next phase, and the tension that we feel is the pull before the release. We can welcome any painful events of the past few weeks as exactly what we need to witness in order to transform, to grow. Even the people who've triggered us are reflecting back on the places that we need to heal. Aquarius is in the sign of freedom and authenticity. Whatever is blocking those qualities, especially the ego amplified by this Leo sun, we are now being asked to confront and transcend. The same is true on the world stage, where an old order, outworn systems of power, and old frameworks of thinking are collapsing to make way for something more Aquarian, more Uranian, more loving, more egalitarian. With Chiron newly in Taurus cutting straight through the bottom of Barbel's basket, we are collectively facing our self-doubt, our strained relationship to this planet, to our Mother Earth, beginning the painful work of healing it. Well, at least hopefully I think that that's the case. Western society has taught us that we're not enough, so we need to consume more. It was a mechanism of control used against us. If we heal our worthiness, we can heal society at large. If we heal our connection to the earth, we can heal ourselves. Vanity, narcissism, greed, unhealthy pride, fear, self sacrifice, control, manipulation, addiction. Those are some of the shadows that we are forced to face right now. If we can open to the discomfort rather than brace against it, inviting our demons to the table as honored guests, liberation is available. For me personally, I'm still working out the full meaning of my own Chiron placement. It sits in Taurus at 5 degrees, and I'm only now starting to feel the impact of Chiron's move out of Aries and into Taurus. I've studied astrology for these last 8 years, and it took living through Chiron and Aries, not just reading about it, to understand how this actually operates. This last cycle of my life has been brutal and in equal measure rewarding. So, some of the worst case scenarios that I could imagine have already happened outside of my control to fix. For the first time in my life, I learned how to surrender, to let go of my need to control the outcome. I credit my age and emotional maturity to help me get there and land where I am today. A clear intention I set for myself back in July of 2018 has become the reality that I'm living now. That's what's brought me the kind of joy I genuinely didn't think was possible to live. I learned at a young age that the world is harsh and full of people chasing their fate instead of destiny. Fortunately, I also figured out early that I wanted to build an entirely different reality for myself. I credit a strong Sagittarian fifth house Neptune tucked into a grand fire trine for the creatively theatrical shape that my life has taken. All of it was sparked, quite literally, by dreams I had as a child. For instance, I knew from a young age that I wasn't supposed to live where I was living. And during my vivid childhood dreams, I dreamt of living in lands far away from America. I left in 2005 thinking I would return, but that moment has never come. The psyche is such a strange and powerful thing to witness. The ultimate awakening is recognizing there's no real difference between pain and pleasure, heartbreak and love, sadness and joy. It's all just one big, beautiful feast. If we are open to it, we come into awareness of our true nature, vast, relaxed, profound, and utterly ordinary, all happening at once. We see we are interconnected with everything. This awareness dissolves our illusionary stories, and from there, the great bliss of each precious moment carries us in free fall to the next. We finally see that heaven was here right all along, and so is hell. Well, let's keep things positive for now. So, what's coming? This is the beginning of a longer arc, not just a single dramatic week. The full moon in Aquarius cracks something open. The Leo solar eclipse on August 12th widens that crack. The Pisces lunar eclipse that follows later in August asks us to feel our way through what's left standing. So, over these coming 6 weeks, expect the pace to stay fast and the stakes to feel personal, even while the headlines are abrasive and spreading to the collective. So, my next report will walk through the eclipse season and what it's asking of each of us to release from the throne that we've built for ourselves. Until then, let yourself be witnessed and let yourself rest. Both are a part of the same practice. Behind the scenes, I'm building out more restorative yoga content for YouTube, and I'm pushing myself to be more visible over on TikTok, which I call my practice space for journal keeping. I'm delivering some short cosmic reports, one small challenge, digital challenge at a time. I am a Leo rising indeed, but I am so incredibly camera shy. Not in front of a live audience, just behind the lens. Practice makes perfect. Progress over perfection. These are the mantras I'm living by in my 49th year around the sun. All right. So thanks for listening and thanks for being here. I'd love to know where you're listening from, if you've made it through the bottom of this, and drop it into the comments where you're tuning in from. I'm generally curious who's out there with me under this Aquarius full moon. Have a wonderful week.